Okay, we are live. Welcome to January's Birthwork Wisdom Mentorship Call. This, I gotta be like super transparent and honest. Like, this topic that we're talking about, taxes and accounting, like, I wanna run away from this. Like, I heard it and I was like, I just wanna run away. I don't even wanna talk about this. And that just means that there's something there. And I was like, you know what? That probably means that this is like the best thing to look at and be with right in this moment. You know, we just started a new year. For those of you who don't know, our taxable year typically ends in December, at the end of December, unless you are a corporation and you've set up a different fiscal year. But we are at the time to really start thinking about what our taxes, our bookkeeping, our accounting looks like so that we can meet our deadlines to get those filed and ready and done. So, Monique, if you're here, Miss Alcala, love to know where you are with this subject. How does it make you feel? What does it bring up for you? Um, if you're able to. Hey, good
Hi,
morning.
good morning. So this subject gives me extreme anxiety. Like I was
Mm-hmm.
actually just thinking about it. First of all, I don't even take good budgeting. Like I'm so lost with it. Like I have ledgers that I haven't even used from last year, so I'm not even documenting what I'm spending and what's coming in. So this is definitely gonna help me.
Awesome. Awesome. Yep. It
And
can
that's not
only get better.
and that's not abnormal. That's lots of people.
Right.
And this is what we call financial health. We know about physical health and mental health and all this and that, but we don't think about what is our financial health.
Mhm.
Okay. And so that's what today is about, is just getting you a starting point, and Kai and I were talking a little bit about, just before we started, about how, really looking at where you are in your business, so what business moves to make, because sometimes you get business advice, but it's not for your level of business. So you can't apply it and have it work because you're not there yet. So really getting real with your business, asking questions like, do I have a business plan? But in the beginning, when you're starting out, you still have to know what you're putting out versus what you're bringing in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
I love
and
the analogy that you use to health. You know, it's like if you don't know what your heartbeat is, your resting heart rate, then you don't know what's abnormal. You don't know if you're actually doing well or if you're actually performing poorly. Just to really take your temperature, and have a gauge as to what's going on means getting to know your business and yourself in this way, according to your finances, because it's important.
okay. So we ready to flip the slide?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So we've got top 10, 11 small business accounting tips to save you time and money. All right. How come my space bar don't work now? Oh,
All
I know
good.
why. I know. Oh, no, wait. What am I doing wrong here?
There's that little arrow too, the one next to the play button to the right of it.
Ah,
Yep.
okay. There we go. Okay. So top 11 small business accounting tips. We're going to go through each one of these, but essentially you have to separate your business and personal expenses. So your personal expenses are like your monthly budget, your rent, your electric, whatever, your personal expenses are. And then your business expenses are what you're putting out in your business. All right. And so, I do spirit work around money as well. So, when people are like, oh, I know what my monthly budget is. But you have to write it down every month. You have to tell the universe how much money you need. And then if in that particular month, there's something that you want to do for your business, take a class, you have to add that to the monthly budget. So again, you can ask the universe for the right amount. And then, you know, miraculously you get a client that's exactly for the number, for the amount of the class that you need.
Yeah.
But if you're not talking to your money when you're paying your bills, I do this corny little thing where I'm like, look, thank you, money. I'll see you next month. I'm so grateful. And I put wings on that bad boy. And I'm like, I'll see you next month. I'm not mad about paying out. I'm grateful because I have the money to do it. And I know that it'll be back next month. Why? I still live in my house. I still have my stuff. My cable is still on. My electric is still on, right? So I can have faith in that. You know, stuff might be a little tight, but you know what? My MO dictates that stuff gets paid. So I have to trust that. So, you know, having that separate business and personal, you know, tracking every business expense, because then you know what you're making, whether you're breaking even or you're in the red. Accurately record income, because again, you need to know what's coming in. You know, if you don't know what you're doing, you either get a mentor or you actually just hire an accountant, because that's easier, because then they'll get you set up and then you can follow a template, right? Automate accounting practices with accounting software. So you can use Sheets, you can use Quicken, you know, there's a bunch of different things. I actually have a doula software where it actually does my expenses as long as I input in everything. So there's that. Dedicate time to updating your books, doing that monthly budget. You know, again, people freak out and they don't think that they have enough money, but it's actually because they're allocating their money wrong. Okay, so what ends up happening is, instead of people taking that monthly nut and breaking it down into digestible weekly pieces. So if your nut is $2,000, that's $500 a week that you got to output, right? So now you organize your bills. What's due this week? What's due that week? Da, 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 da. Okay, and you'll find that you actually have more money, and doing this, you'll actually have more money left over. You know, because we have more money than we think we do. You know, and then when we're, you know, kind of just shopping, I think we talked about this real quick, $27 a day for 365 days is $10,000. So when we'd be like, I don't know where my money went. Well, I know where 10 large went. Okay, that I can account for. Guilty. You know, I spent $27 a day for sure. Unless I like, and seriously, I can't even be like, if I don't go out, because Amazon.
Or Rifle Paper Company. No
Shut
comment.
Shut up. I want to be prepared with my Clipfolio from
Right?
fancy Rifle Paper Company. So keep tabs on labor costs. What is your cost per unit? So if you're doing something, it has a unit cost. The sooner you figure out that everything you do is a unit, you know how many units you got to put out to make your money number for the month. So if you want to make $5K a month, so for me, that looks like 2 births. So each unit of birth is $2,500.
Mhm.
Okay, and whether you offer a la carte services like energy work or readings, you know, tarot readings, whatever it is, what is that money number? Half hour, hour, each cost per unit. You know, if there's a time incremental, then if it's 30 minutes, if it's an hour, if it's an hour and a half, what is your cost per unit? Okay, whether we're talking on the phone, whatever it is, you know. So right now I'm talking to this agency. She's out in Jersey, and I told her, I was like, look, I'm not coming to you for $384 for a birth in Jersey. Suck it. Not happening. I will do all your antenatal education virtually. I'll do your lactation though for your $30 an hour fee all day long in my pajamas at home, all day. And so being very definitive on what is your unit cost on whatever you're offering. What do you offer? So keep tabs on labor costs. Be prepared for major expenses. So things happen. But sometimes maybe, you know, major expenses looks like investing in yourself, in a mentor, in a coach, in equipment. You know what? Most of us are working off our phones, and maybe we need a new laptop. or something like that. So we want to make sure we have dough for that. All right. Or whatever it might look like, right now, I have my skincare. My skincare insurance is due. That covers for me for $9 million, and it covers all the services that I do. It's almost $300. I got to pay it though. Got to do it. So I got to be prepared for that every year. My websites are all going through. I have hosting and I have domain names, and they're not cheap. So again, I have to be prepared for these expenses that come through. Okay. And know what my business numbers are. Maintain inventory records. So again, if you have merchandise, if you're creating products, okay, you have to know that, this bottle of grapeseed oil is, $2 an ounce or whatever it is, so that you know what you get for that 32-ounce bottle of grapeseed oil you just put every time you make something, or, whatever, it took me this many beads, whatever, maintaining your records, whatever you're going to do. Follow up on your invoices and receivables to avoid overpaying on taxes. So again, making sure that, you close out your invoices, and, anything that you have incoming, everything is closed for the tax season. Okay. Because when you leave these invoices hanging, they're like, yo, so what happened with that cash? Did you get it or what? Or did you just pocket it? So that's the thing, with automation and doing your taxes. Create financial projections for future years. That's how you're going to scale up is, in the first year, this is my intention. I want to make this much, but then from there, it looks like, okay, so now how much do I want to double my income? Do I want to triple my income? What form of marketing or whatever worked for me? What kind of investments did I need to make? So it's really important to figure out the trajectory of your business, because that's how you're going to arrive.
Yeah.
All right.
Meredith, is this going to be available for download in the group?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'll share it with you, and you do whatever you do magically.
Sweet. And Monique, can we check in with you for each slide? Just want to check in, like where you are with each of these things. And a simple, no, I haven't done it. Yes, I have is cool too. We don't have to get into the specifics, but I just want to make sure you have the opportunity, to ask about any questions that you have. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
So, again, depending on where you are in your business, that matters with a lot of this advice. So again, maybe you're not at the place of having set up 2 different bank accounts yet, but, really think about that, because maybe, that's your next logical move, right? So this way, where your business money goes, because again, we will have a tendency to rob Peter to pay Paul. We don't want to do that. Okay. Now, maintaining a dedicated bank account and business credit cards will also help you limit legal exposure if you're an LLC. So I'm a DBA, Kai is an LLC.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not at a level in my business yet where it kind of, has me wanting to be a limited liability corporation. Okay. So I'm comfortable where I'm at. Next year, that may not be the case, and I may have to make the switch. Kai can speak more about LLCs. She has a little bit more experience with that, and that's the cool part, because we're all at different parts of our business.
Right.
In different places.
I can say a little bit about that now, if that's all right.
Yeah, do your thing, too.
So I became an LLC. I registered in the state of New Jersey in 2012. And what actually had me do that was because I started dealing with business to business relationships. At that time, I had a handmade business. I was one of those people who jumped on the Etsy train, right? I was like, yo, I got my thing that I'm making, and I wanna grow. And the first business to business relationship that I stepped into was to deal with a distributor. And when you deal with a distributor, you want to make sure that you have all of your business, your business licensure, there's several different documents that you get when you create an LLC. Also, you get your forms so that you can purchase things wholesale. You get a wholesale certificate, you get a lot of really cool perks. So the relationships that I entered into, were with large corporations like Walmart. And it was a great opportunity to really like put the big girl pants on, and start running with the larger corporations. And in order to do that, you gotta be one. So, um, and you don't have to. It is an opportunity to. Let me just rephrase that. So in order to do that, that was the first time I got to set up a business account with Chase. I was all excited. I had my little folder. I had a tax ID number, and it felt really good. And I realized that it was something that I did when I was ready. I
Look at
didn't.
sneaky ass Juju.
I know, right?
She was hiding at the bottom of my screen. I couldn't see her. And then I was like, espérate, wait a minute. That's another window. Look at sexy ass over there with her pelo
I'm
or
being
flat.
a quiet listener right now.
You chime in when you want to. You look amazing. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. That's that extra self-care. I'm just waiting for, I don't know if I missed the taxes part, because that's what I'm having issues with my business, because I have a couple of them, and for one of them I didn't file taxes. So when all this money came in, there's money in the 5 boroughs. So I was trying to do a doing business as, at a satellite hub for my business in the Bronx, so I could get some of these monies, because right now they have thousands of dollars to give, especially to minority women in business. So when I went to one of these meetings through Eventbrite, the first question that they asked me was, do I have my business certificate? I was like, check. I got all happy. Check. Are you in the 5 boroughs? I was like, check. And then, are your taxes up to date? And I was like, holy smokes, no, they're not. Because for this particular business, the last time I filed taxes was in 2016. So he was like, listen, even though you're a sole proprietor, even, you still have to file taxes every year, even if it's a 0. So at least I have the opportunity to go back. He said, go back, file those taxes, get them to 0, get back to me, and then we can work with you to try to get you a contract with New York, to do business with New York. So that's my little chiming in.
Great point. And there's different kinds of taxes too, right? So federal income tax, you don't necessarily have to file if your income is under 10,000, but there is a self-employment tax that you do have to file every year. And there's a bunch of different kinds, and I can even show you what happens when you don't pay your taxes, which it's not as bad as we think. But I have about 5 minutes on that when we get to the end of our presentation here.
All right. So you can't file your personal expenses on a business tax form. However, if you use your car or you use your house, there are percentages that are deductible. So I believe it's 1/3 of your rent, 1/3 of your electric, 1/3 of your internets. And, that's a perk when you work from home and you work for yourself. Okay. All right. Track every expense, label and categorize everything, track your cash flow to ensure that you can maximize your tax write-offs, okay, and credits. Dollars add up quickly and you can easily run out of money. So use your business credit cards for all your purchases, and you won't end up with a wallet full of paper receipts to sort through. This also means you can earn rewards and cash back for your spend. Accounting software will also store copies of checks and invoices that you've paid. When cash is your only option, file digital copies of your receipts in your accounting software. Accurately record income. Loans, revenue from sales, and other cash infusions are easy to lose track of, but you need to keep tabs on all your incoming cash flow. If you don't, you could end up underpaying your taxes, and that could lead to avoidable IRS penalties. As with expenses, your accounting method will determine exactly when to record income.
Can we pause for a sec?
Mhm.
Just want to check in. Monique, how are you feeling about 1, 2, and 3? Have you separated your business and personal Are you recording your income and your expenses?
I have not done any of the above. I'm sitting here overwhelmed right now. I'm just thinking about that because my doula business, I haven't done anything with that, but I have another business where I've been generating income with that. So
Okay, cool.
Yeah, you got to ask yourself, how are you generating your income? Are you receiving these payments through PayPal, Venmo, all these things, because they do keep a little transaction for you that you can write down.
okay, yeah.
If you're keeping any receipts, like for instance, they said separate business and personal, but with me, Starbucks was my office for one time. So I would invite everyone in, come for a cup of coffee.
Yeah, and you can write that off. You can write off dinner meetings. If you're meeting a business associate and you discuss business, that's a write-off.
Yep, and the gas to get there.
Yep.
If you filled up your tank to get there, is the gas. But I also want to let you know those cute little receipts that you get, because they changed the paper that we get receipts from. Back in the day, it used to be paper. So you could save those papers like forever, and you could still see what you spent. Now, the paper is, I think, some thermogenic paper, because it gets like laser printed, and over time it'll wear off.
Yes.
So if you have any of those, take a photocopy and put it on paper in a file, so that way you can always go back. If you're not that type of person, see, I'm a little bit backwards. I save my receipts. I make copies. I love to take copies because my thing is I could read better on paper than on screen, and those little words don't work for me without my glasses. So I'll take a photocopy and I'll stick it in a file folder, but I have file folders quarterly, every 3 months. So this is January, February, March, April, May, June. And I just throw everything in there. It's a little bit crazy, but that's how I do it. And then I take some time, then I go through everything. Okay, this is January, paperclip. This is because I haven't done it electronically. Now this past year is where I got into electronically, but I love PayPal for that. I use my PayPal business account for that. I do my invoices through there. I receive monies through there, and I keep everything, pretty much everything business, PayPal, even if they take the percentage out, because they double encrypt everything. So I'm like, you want to pay me? Send it through PayPal. All the other things, like Cash App, is not really great for business, even though people use it for business. There's other details to that. Venmo is okay. Zelle is better. So if you use these different mechanisms, you have to really be good on separating the business and personal. I get Christmas gifts through Venmo. I get, things. So it's hard for me to be like, oh, I received money. Was that personal? Was that business? Especially when they use the emoji like a unicorn, or they use a pretzel. People are funny. So you really have to be really strict with that, because like they say in the world, there's only two things that you cannot escape, and that's death and taxes.
Well said.
Yep. Okay, so accurately record income. Consider hiring a professional. If it's really overwhelming, maybe you sit with an accountant or a bookkeeper and have them help you set it up, and then you can go from there. Or you can hire a mentor. Let me learn about setting up my own system, what I need to do. I'm kind of in this place right now. I got to get an accountant. I got to have him set me up and tell me what to do, because I don't know anything about this.
I have one to recommend.
Hey. And that's where I'm at right now, because I want to make sure I do the right thing. I got some issues I got to take care of as well. So like I said, we're all, in different places in our business. We really have to, look clearly at what's going on around our financial health. Absolutely. Automating practices with accounting software. So again, that could look like Excel, that could look like Quicken, QuickBooks. There's this thing, it's not exactly an accounting software, but it makes your accounting easier. It's this thing called Neat Desk. And literally, whether it's business cards, it's receipts, it's files, it doesn't matter what it is. It's a little scanner. When you scan your little document, a prompt comes up and it asks you, you put in all the information, you know, you give it tags. So if you put in business, like literally, it will issue a tax report for you. Okay. You know, it's a Rolodex, you know,
That
important.
software is the bomb.
No,
because-
it's a little scanner, and it's a software that it's a piece of
Mhm.
equipment and software that goes on your computer.
So scratch what I said about making copies. Use that thing, because
No,
that
it's,
thing will keep it for you.
you know,
I've
it's a
been
little
wanting-
pricey, and it's been pricey, and the price has not gone down really
Nope.
for a reason. For a reason. It saves lives. It saves sanity. And guess what? You don't have 87,000 pounds of paper. If you have any paper, it's literally the last 7 years. It's not anything else, because you ran it through and it all lives on your computer. All of it. And then seriously, you open the software, you type in whatever you're looking for, and boom, it'll pull up everything with that tag. So Neat Desk.
I've been looking into that for years, and it definitely has been, the price has not changed. I saw an
Waiting.
infomercial
I've
one
been on
day.
eBay. Are you kidding me? I've been waiting, girl, and nowhere. They're like, too bad. You'll pay full price if you want this.
Yep. I saw an infomercial and I was like, oh, I need one of those. And I'm on Amazon looking, and it still has not changed.
No, one of my bestest girlfriends, she bought it. It's rotting in her closet, and I want to choke her.
Oh, wow.
The beauty of getting paid your worth. That little Neat Desk is like, you want me? You got to pay my worth.
Word. $4.49. Okay. Dedicate time to update your books. Block out weekly time in your calendar to get necessary paperwork in order and avoid letting receipts and invoice receivables pile up. Make sure you stick to the time you've set aside. This can save you lots of catch-up work as tax season nears. Accounting software such as QuickBooks can save you time here by automatically categorizing income and expenses, reconciling your bank accounts and credit cards. Keep tabs on labor costs. Paying employees, including yourself, because most of the time we don't pay ourselves, might account for as much as 70% of a business's total budget. Take note of overtime, perks, and other benefits you offer to prevent over or underpaying. Your accountant or accounting software should also be able to help you calculate and pay your payroll taxes, which have different rules and deadlines than income taxes. So that's the thing about being a sole proprietor and working on your own. You only have to worry about paying yourself. But then that's the question. Are you paying yourself?
Right. And having a look at, like Meriday was saying earlier, what your actual labor cost is. When you look at something like a birth, you know, and you have your set fee, divide it by how many hours you're actually out there in the field to have a look at what your hourly payment to yourself is. You could be paying yourself as little as $5 or $10 an hour.
Oh, yeah.
If you're not careful.
Exactly. You know, that birth that I did most recently, like I said, I have a birth number, and my intention, I had a very different number in mind, and what I ended up, you know, not that it was bad, I just thought it was going to go a different way. And I had to work for my cash. It was all good. There's no complaints. But again, birth, you don't know how long you're going to be. So let's not put a number hourly in that regard. But again, making sure that money counts, because if I'm there, you know, 50 plus hours, that's exactly what Kai is talking about. My number keeps shifting.
And chiming in with you in harmony with Meriday, because I've done, like I said, I'm a little bit opposite. Charitable contributions. This is why it's very important for you to separate your things. You can do a set price. Like one of my births was free. It's a freebie, but there's still a price tag on that. So what is the cost of that birth? And that's my charitable contribution. You know, that's a totally separate column when it comes to filing your taxes. What did you donate? You know, you have to keep that in mind. Did you donate products? Did you donate your time? You know, whether it's advice, that's also considered part of your income, even though you gave it away free as a charitable contribution, just to keep that in mind.
That's right. Expect major expenses. So we talked briefly about this: computer upgrades, equipment, Miss Velka, need your new computer.
Wah, wah, wah.
Equipment replacement, tax deadlines shouldn't come as a surprise. Large capital expenses often come up during slower months, so plan ahead to avoid a cash crunch. The good news is that the IRS provision called Section 179 lets you deduct up to $1 million of business property and equipment in the year of purchase, instead of depreciating the equipment year over year. So even if you feel a pinch of large purchases now, you might benefit from tax breaks later.
Monique, have you purchased any big equipment for your business, computers, new phones, anything like that?
Just my phone.
That's big. The phones ain't cheap nowadays.
No, they're not.
No, not.
They're definitely not.
So
With
that
my
could be an
little
amazing write-off
antique
for you.
phone. Look, with my little antique phone.
No comment.
We ain't touching antiquity here.
Oh, iPhone hates me right now. They're like, screw you, bitch, get a new phone. Like, can't make me. Not yet.
Am I the only Android lover here?
I have an
Yes.
Android. I have both, actually.
I have both. Okay, maintain inventory records. Theft costs U.S. businesses $50 billion each year and can throw off your books. Avoid misplacing merchandise or theft by noting dates purchased, stock numbers, purchase prices, dates sold, sale prices. The more organized, the better. You can buy standalone inventory management software to help you with this task, or many accounting softwares integrate with the inventory management tools. So now, again, if we're not selling like that, it's more about managing your inventory if you're making products at home and you're a sole proprietor. So making sure that you know how much you put out. So you know what that product, that piece of jewelry or whatever, that photo, whatever it is, what did you put out? All right. And then, obviously when it's time to replace, oh, okay, I got one left in stock.
And that's everything. That's your labels, your bags, your ribbons, your tags, every little thing. Because some people, like for me, when I do the blankets, the crochet blankets, on some of them, I sew in a baby blanket. So I have to keep in mind, even though I brought a spool of thread that probably cost me $3.50, how much of that thread did I use on this project?
Yep.
I mean, it's so little, but all of that is important.
Well, like for me, I was talking about like grapeseed oil. You buy a 32-ounce bote of grapeseed oil, but you're not using that in one product. I might be using an ounce, 2 ounce. So what is that? What is my cost per ounce? Same thing with my shea butter, my cocoa butter, my essential oils. My essential oils, they're all different prices. So if my rose oil is $180 for 5 milliliters or 15 milliliters, I got to figure it out by the drop.
Absolutely. And then that brings into account also like your rejects and your damage control. When you receive a product, what was damaged? Because that also goes into your paperwork. When you have something that's, I can't think of the word right now, but that's time sensitive, that can expire. How much of it did you use? And did you use it within the year? And did you have to throw it out? And did it go bad?
Shelf life.
There you go. So that's also important to consider, because, you could have grapeseed oil. You could have, when does it go bad? If it goes bad,
that's right.
Whatever it is, you have to record that, because that all comes out.
That's a loss. That's a loss. So you know what? I just spent, $17 on a bottle of grapeseed oil that I didn't use. It comes out your pocket. That's a good
point too, because doing your income taxes is not always profit either. Because I did one in 2015, and I did a profit and loss, and I took a loss, even though I still got a return. But business-wise, it was the profit and loss, and I didn't make any money that year. That you also have to report and record.
Absolutely. And when you do, it's just good to know. Like, for instance, I have a client that I performed services last year, but I still haven't invoiced them. And now I'm in the next taxable year.
Well, so that's what we're talking about right now.
Yep.
Is following up on those invoices. Okay. Just because you send an invoice does not mean that you're going to get paid. So you have to, be maquejode. Hey, how are you? Just checking in. Get your money. Can I get my money? Be like the paper boy, I want my $2. All right. And then when you send your invoices right after a job, it increases the chances of prompt payment, follow up with friendly reminders. You can even offer incentives. If you pay it in full, boom, we'll give you a little discount. Online payments using cloud-based accounting software can also help automate the process.
And that's extra work too. That gives you another job and another job title, because now you took the hat of collections. So that's separate than the job that you have as you're being an entrepreneur. Because if not, you would have to outsource that, right? When you become a big company, you would outsource that for somebody else to collect all these, what is it, the account payables or the account receivables? No, the account receivables is what you get. The account payables is what goes out, right? So you're going to be doing your account receivables. What didn't you get? And since you're doing it now as a small business, you pay yourself for that job too.
So, and that rolls into creating your financial projections for the future years. Your first year in business, they say it takes 5 years to make or break a business, or to break even in a business, excuse me. So your first year is, you're going to see what worked, what didn't. You're going to have done your market research, your market demographics. And so, and so you want to make sure that, like I said, if you want to double your income in 2 or 3 years, or, the next year, what do you need to do that? And it can be tricky sometimes, inflation, all kinds of things, coronavirus, all kinds of things will affect our projections. Okay. And so, when we factor in price increase, number of customers, marketing each year, really sitting down, with yourself, with an accountant, with software is really going to make a big difference. And this is the backbone of your business. So learning the ins and outs sooner versus later is to all of our benefits.
Yes. Okay. You ready for 5 minutes on what happens when you don't pay your debt?
Yes.
Sweet. Happy to share. Sharing screen.
I swear when they pretend like they don't know you in Gmail, I want to punch them in their face, just so you know. They're like, Kai. I said this to you before. They're like, Kai who?
All good. Okay. So I'm just going to go through what it is that I do have, and I'll share all of these links in the group as well. This is a cute little article by TurboTax. And of course, just keep in mind when you read articles from companies like QuickBooks or TurboTax, their goal is to get you to sign up for their services. So just read that with it, with that in mind. You don't need what they have all the time. So you can read for the information and kind of like, ignore their pitching. But this is actually a really good article on how to file your federal income tax for a small business. And like we were saying before, federal income tax may not be necessary if your net profit is less than $10,000. So there's a lot of little guidelines there, but of course there are other taxes to pay attention to. And for instance, one of those other taxes is your self-employment tax, and that covers like your Medicare and stuff like that. And you do have to file that if your your taxable income is over $400. So there's all these little things that an accountant will know, that we may not know right off the back of our hand, and that's okay. That's what professionals are for. So don't think you have to know all of these rules, but you can reach out to someone and see, what the deal is and ask them. Okay, so I'm just going to go through really quick what I have here, and then the what happens when you don't is the last tab. This is a link that I'll share that just breaks down the different types of taxes: income tax, self-employment tax, taxes in terms of like your employees, excise tax. They go through all of these different ones here, just in case you want to edify yourself, right? Because even if you do have a professional, sometimes you want to just have the education so that you can be like sound of mind. and ask questions, to the professional that you hire. Like, I read somewhere that X, Y, and Z, and bring that to the table instead of relying 100% on that professional. And that goes with anything, even if you go to a doctor's office, you still want to know your body, right? And be able to ask that doctor questions. It's the same thing with your taxes. You want to have as much education as you can bring to the table. And then those spots where you feel a little uncomfortable, you can go in and ask those questions. So,
and isn't it lovely how they treat you differently too when you have some information, whether it's, the taxes, your business, or the medical, sensors. Once you know, they're like, oh, wait a minute, this person has a little bit of information. So knowledge is potential power.
Juju's got lots of stories about that. The most common form that you will use for the IRS for your small business is Schedule C. And I'm going to show you what the Schedule C form looks like. It actually looks just like a regular 1040 form that most people use when they're employed. And we'll just have a look at what that looks like. There's a few extra lines, and that's just the few extra lines that they put in for small businesses. And note, the Schedule C form has changed since 2020. There was a different form that was used from 2019 and older, and now they've actually eliminated that form. So if you're doing back taxes, you're going to use the new form. There you go, instead of the old one. And I'll share this link. This article explains all that. This is what the Schedule C form looks like. It's a profit or loss business form. And like I said, it looks just like a regular tax form. The extra lines come in around here where it says income, because we have different types of income that we can add in here. And then part 2 is all new for a business because you're accounting for your expenses. So they've got lines for everything from travel to rent to, benefits. All those things are accounted for in here. And there's even line 27A, which is other. So you can put every single little thing in here, and your accountant or your professional is there to help you sort through all of that. Okay, and make this process as seamless and as effortless as possible. Okay, this is actually pretty cool. The IRS has like a little virtual workshop on paying your small business taxes. It's just 9 videos. Again, this is great for self-education so that you're going into your tax paying process with, with some knowledge in hand. They've done their best as a government organization, to have like little webinars. I think it's cute. And it's really helpful just to get the basic information. I'll share this link, and you can watch the videos. They talk about deductibles and write-offs and how to actually make the payments. It's pretty neat. Okay, this is again another guide. I do not recommend looking at this first. I actually recommend looking at this last if you do at all. It is a long document that has a lot of specifics. This is kind of like the dictionary. You go in there.
Dictionary.
Yeah, you go in there to look for something specific. You don't read the whole dictionary.
Only 56 pages.
Right. This is a guide in case you need to cross-reference something, ask a specific question, or, if you come to a special situation that you want to look up, then this guide is useful for that. And I'll share that with you as well. This is a shorter guide, and this is from the Small Business Association. If you have a tax professional that you're working with, you may not even need this particular document. But if you do plan on taking the challenge of doing it yourself, then this is a really helpful guide that helps you plan from beginning to the end, which is your filing. And it takes you through step by step, again, from the Small Business Association. So it has small business people in mind when they are sharing these instructions. Okay. We're almost there. Next link is we had a lot of special circumstances this year. People received things like what they call a PPP loan. If anyone, applied for that, and that was for small businesses who pay employees, even if it's a sole proprietor, not sole proprietorship, sorry, but for companies that have employees, they were able to apply for a loan called the PPP, which is a Paycheck Protection Program, which means that it helped people pay their employees during the pandemic. So this article is about how do you file your taxes, when you have gotten these special loans during the pandemic. So those things are important to take note of too, because we've had a very special year last year with a lot of, money is coming from here and there. And now it's time to account for all of them. So there's that to take into consideration. And here's the article. I will share this in the mentorship group. What happens if taxes are not filed? So, and this is specifically, talking about a person who's self-employed and they didn't file their tax return, right? So there's many cases where you can actually have a conversation with the IRS. Now, this is what accountants and professionals typically do, because it's not likely that someone will, one, feel comfortable, two, will know where to call to get through, and three, know what to ask for. But this article starts to talk about what you can do to have a conversation with the IRS to either ask them to ease up on the penalties, because typically there's like a percentage of penalty that is paid for each month missed. And it happens all the time. So it's all good. But there's actually like viable, I don't want to say excuses, but things that you can say so that they're like, oh, okay, we can take it easy on you. And some of those things are if you had a death in the family, if you had a mental illness, if you had anything go on with addiction, if you got bad advice from another accountant, or if you had extended military service, then IRS is like, okay, like we this is a special circumstance and we can really ease up on the penalties for you and make sure that you can start to get up to date on your taxes. And even if you have back taxes that are owed, you can work out a payment plan with the IRS. You don't have to worry about, like, oh my gosh, I have to pay all of this at once. You can actually like work it out with them and set up a plan that works for you in order to get up to date. One of the things that is noted that when your taxes are not up to date, just like Juju was saying, is that there are certain benefits that you become not eligible for when you apply for a loan, whether it's a new house, that you're getting and you want to get a mortgage, or if you want to apply for another business loan, they're gonna ask for your tax records. That's just what they do. That's the advantage, disadvantage of the government being so closely sewn in or weaved in with all of these other organizations. So it's good to have your records up to date, not just for yourself and for your peace of mind, but also to know that you are opening the door for other opportunities that are out there that you could potentially apply for. Got it. So if you owe the IRS more than $50,000, they could potentially revoke your passport. And that's just something that they do to make sure that you're not running away to another country and creating a new life and, dodging these responsibilities. It's rare, but, and also this is, a large amount, but it's just something to keep in mind that, that they want to keep you accountable. That's all. It also affects Obamacare. I'm not a participant in that, so I don't know if that is still in effect. And let me just check the date on this. This was from 2019. So that's something that's real. And And there's things like the IRS could potentially just go in and file for you. Again, that's rare. But what happens when the IRS does that is that they do not take into account your deductibles. They just go ahead and file for you and say, hey, you owe us this. That's how a lot of people find out. They get a letter in the mail. IRS says that you owe us this because we filed your taxes for you. And the only way that they can calculate that amount is by doing the math. But they don't take into account your deductibles. And that's the benefit that you get by doing it yourself. You get to do those write-offs. This says you'll likely go to jail, but you won't likely go to jail. This is just the extreme precautions that they take in higher amounts. But again, it's something that's possible. Not filing your taxes is technically a misdemeanor. So they take that into account. Just so that that they ain't playing out here. So it's a good idea just to do what you can. And the first step can be just asking for help, talking to a tax professional, and having them have a look at what's been going on. The best thing to do is just to know, again, for your sake, for your peace of mind, and what you plan on doing with your business in the year to come, in the years to come, that this is to your advantage. And it may not even be as bad as you think. That's the great part. Usually we have all these like stories like, oh my gosh, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. But what it's really telling us is that it's just time to have a look and to get straight, get even. And from personal experience, I have been debt-free as of October last year. And that was like the biggest energetic release like I have ever felt ever. And just to know that I didn't have that in the back of my mind, you're like, oh my gosh, I have debt, or, or whatever. And to know that that is like not there, that opens up the space for me to focus on my business, to focus on my income, and to not have these subconscious fears, about, oh, if I bring it in money, somebody's going to take it away. You know what I mean? So just to do this is not just literal, it's also energetic. It also opens up space in your mind, in your spirit, in your field to bring in the abundance that you deserve. That's my spiel.
She said, that's my spiel. Yay, spiel.
Awesome. So I'll share all of those links because they're all pretty cool, even just to take a look or to share, with people that you know. And I'll put them in the group for everybody.
All right.
How you feeling, Monique?
Overwhelmed. It's a lot.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
And I applaud you for being here, staying present,
Thank you.
and just looking.
That's right.
A la cala.
That's right.
Know that it's a lot, but you're starting small.
We can't deal with anything that we don't look at.
Start small. You're doing one business. I believe you have 3 businesses, right? So the one that you're actively doing, put it in practice there, know, and then, I don't know if you're doing the paperwork route or you're going into the electronic route, but remember, things are easier to manage when they're small. A couple of, and I'm not, I wish you abundance. I'm just saying a couple of invoices, a couple of streams of income, a couple of, it's coming in little by little. It makes it easier to manage, because once that ball starts going, the universe is going to give you exactly what you asked for, because you're present everywhere. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. You're going to get calls from everywhere, because it's something else when you have different businesses, because you got to separate them. I'm getting called for doula. I'm getting called to crochet. I'm getting called to print. I'm getting called to do cards. I'm getting called to, prep food, whatever it is. It's all these little things. And it's like, oh my gosh. But if you have it set up before it even kicks in, It'll be easier for you, especially with the kiddos, you know, and then you're going to start getting savvy because you're like, oh, I'm going to meet with my girlfriend. But if you're meeting with your girlfriend and you're talking about business, right off, if you're going to go get somebody a gift and it pertains to your business, but it's a gift to them, right off, you know, that special book or that notebook and pen or whatever it is, it's a write-off. You know, you'll start getting savvy because I mean, this is a corporate capitalist country. That's what they do. They learn to work around taxes. They learn how it bends and folds and how it works best for them. And the only way that we'll know that is by the practice and getting savvy.
Pretty much.
And use everything that's coming to you. Minority, woman, BIPOC, especially now. Because, you know, like I said, I missed out on that grant because I didn't file my taxes, but they have money for me. So he was like, do those back taxes, show me that you did the back taxes and we'll get you in. I mean, if you got $20,000 like in the back burner, you're going to let it burn and you're not going to go for it. I think that you would do everything possible to go for it, you know? So there's a lot of stuff going on right now.
Beautiful. Any other questions?
Yay.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here. This part of the mentorship is so valuable because you get to be here, you get to be in it, you get to ask the questions, you know, that are necessary. And the point of today is to really get your year off to a nice clean start. And that's just by, you know, lifting up the carpet and just looking to see what's underneath there, right? So from here forward, now we get to build upon that clear space that you're making to really build your empire. That's what we're here for. We want to help you build. So you've got us in this capacity once a month, but any questions that come up for you, ask us. Ask it in the group so everyone can benefit from the answers. Have a look at those videos in the mentorship area. There's so much wisdom there. We're actually going to be even sharing some more texts that you can look at and read. There's some in there right now about midwifery and about doula and anatomy.
That's what you were talking about.
Yep, we're going to continue adding to that library. So you've got a library of videos and wisdom. You've got a library of actual texts. You know, if you want to go in and start looking at that, you've got a lot of information at your hands, and it's okay if it feels overwhelming. That's why we come here into this space, and we've got it all sectioned out for you so that by the end of this year, you are going to have all of this power in the form of knowledge, in the form of support. Like, you're going to be rolling. And that's the goal. So I just want to congratulate you and thank you for taking you on.
That's right.
She just said rolling, and I'm thinking about rolling in the dough.
You
know, like time to make the donuts, time to roll the dough, time to
showing up is half the battle.
G.I. Joe. No.
You know, being transparent and doing the hard things. You know, that's what makes change. That's what shifts things.
And it gives clarity too, because you want to manifest your abundance. You want to manifest that money. You can't manifest money with clutter and with confusion. It just doesn't work that way. It really doesn't.
Just keep showing up for you, and the information is going to be there. It's going to show up for you. The universe is going to show up for you too.
That's right.
Awesome. This has been great.
Yes. Thank you, ladies.
You're
most welcome. We will see you next week at the podcast, next month for mentorship.
That's right. Have a great day.
And next month, the summit.
That's right. That too.
I'm there for everything.
All of it.
We're here for you. Yeah. All right. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.